We're all a little depraved and debaucherous. Here is the king of podcasts.
So please don't ask me to go ahead and talk about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Maybe I'll talk about it in a little bit. But that's not the focus of tonight's program. There's other things we can talk about here on the Praise of the Debauchers more important than Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Okay? There's enough people out there, content creators on TikTok, Instagram, and everywhere else talking about it. I'm going to take a story. If I want to bring it up, I have it lined up in the queue if I want to go ahead and talk about it. But let's get into the subject of what it is tonight. Dating apps. Now, I'm following up on a story that I reported here on the Praise and Debauchers on the half-hour episode. In June, so 3 months ago, I talked about how Tinder and Hinge are planning to go ahead and set up more premium services for their apps. These dying dating apps that they think are going to be doing so well if you just paid a little more, if you just forked out a little more cash. Okay, there are the sugar daddy sites that make you pay $50 to $100 to $150 per month for their services. And you get the full complement of services. And even some other stuff, enterprise, if you want to add a little bit more to it. Well, then also those same type of people looking for dates or looking for situationships or arrangements that might not be able to get what they want from seeking arrangement or sugar daddy, sugar babies, the league, all these other ones that are out there, then maybe they'll go to the almighty Tinder. And Tinder was going to bring out their Tinder Select program, and this was back in June, announcing they were going to go ahead and increase their pricing for the Select program to $500 a month. So they want to go full matchmaker. We're going to get into what they've actually offered because now it's available. But I want to play a clip from June 2023 when I talked about this. The episode was called The Answer for Disgruntled Dating App Users Raise Prices. And this is what I said back in June.
You're not going to get more results from it, okay? What you're getting is more information, more transparency. But that doesn't turn into or convert into, if you have the same profile, if you have the same pictures, you're not going to get any more interest unless you're just getting, shoved down your throat. And for you getting this prioritized dater feature, this motivated dater feature, if you feel like this is going to work, then what you're saying to yourself is, okay, you're going to be one of those like paid ads up there. Like you're going to be saying, there's going to be people that are going to see your ad. Sure, more frequency, more visibility. But the question is, so they're going to see you more often. That's just going to be somebody else they're going to swipe. They'll say, I just swiped you yesterday. Why are you here again? Swipe. Swipe left, swipe left, swipe left, swipe left. The more frequency of seeing your ad that is not appealing or not enticing to the other person that you want, hopefully will respond back to you, it doesn't make any difference. Plus, you're going to add it to more people that are outside your market? Like, what's going on with all this?
So now we're here with the new VIP service, Tinder Select. There's not much different than what I said already. It's being offered to extremely active Tinder users. And as I've said before, when you do things like this, what you're doing is you're just making yourself tag to be much more of a sucker than you are, okay? You're showing, hey, I needed to pay $500 a month for you to look at me, pretty girl. That's it. That's what you're getting from it. With the promise, the hope that maybe something is going to come out of it, that maybe this time, because I've proven with my money that this pretty girl that I saw before, hopefully she's not going to swipe left of me because now she's going to see I got money. It is creating the new sugar daddies out there. Even if you don't think you are, or you're not intentionally coming into this to become a sugar daddy, that's what you're going to become by being a part of this. Do you understand? This is a sucker's buy. You don't pay for this. If you feel like you need to resort to this level of debauchery, of depravity, to go ahead and say, oh, I'm going to put the money up there. Listen, you'll do better in a champagne room tonight in any strip club with $500. You can find an escort for 3 hours, 2 hours, whatever. You can find one right now. Order one up, and you'll get the same satisfaction. Because you understand the investment you're going to put into it once you get the girl hooked into this. If she's the one that's actually going to buy into you, you're not going to impress her with the money. You're going to just say to her, oh, I got money to spend on you, money to burn, then you're just going to get treated like shit. And I hope all of you understand that's what's going to happen here in the first place. That's what's going to happen. Now, an ultra premium service. So after 23 years in service, Tinder is offering to only the less than 1% of users and allowing daters access to brand new features previously unavailable. Wow. All right. So what you're saying is it's also not for everyone. So if you even want to get to the high level, what is Tinder going to do? What can they possibly do aside from bribing the damn girl to go out with you on a date and promise you sex or a Hummer? What is Tinder going to do to set you up? Only extremely active users with applications on a rolling basis. And paying subscribers will be able to message people they have already matched for the first time. See, this is the other part. Well, the girl that you want, oh, well, she just hasn't talked to me yet. Maybe I'll win her over my personality. No. You're going to do that. And then you get to the profile shown the dating app's most sought after users. So you're going to let Tinder choose the best of the best in their crop. We already see that in their platform anyway. I remember that before I got banned on there. And I'm saying to myself, all right, you're going to go ahead and get on here. You're going to probably be deemed, tagged, designated Tinder Select. And when you do that, what are you getting on here? You're a 5-point select screen, a verified photo, a biography, 5 interests, 4 images at least, and details about what kind of relationship they're looking for. You get extra parts for the women that you're trying to get on there to date. That's what you're getting for the $500 a month. This is not anything better. Okay? So, point by point. You're going to barrage and message and annoy the fuck out of women that you would have never gotten interest from if they swipe right on you. If they didn't swipe right, this is just you perpetuating an annoyance. Okay? So she rejected you by swiping left. And now you're just going to say, well, fuck the rejection. Fuck it. I want to be talking to you. And I paid my money, so you're going to talk to me. That's basically what you're saying. And the select members will have profiles shown to the most sought after users. Yeah, the girls that are impossible for them to get. Now, if you want to give them that promise, okay, then take their money. But these guys need to understand, you're not going to get these girls. They still have to swipe right. I mean, this is not, some Gestapo here. They're not being forced to do this. Okay? The girls are not going to care about the fact that, oh, for the $500 a month, you're going to get a special badge in a profile. But you can also hide it so people don't know that you pay for the highest tier. Well, duh. You think guys that get the badge for $500 a month are not going to let the badge be on the page? They're going to show, I'm pimping. I got bread. Look at me. I got money to burn. Make it rain. And then you move along and, okay, Tinder's chief product officer, Mark Van Rieswick, he says that, quote, we know that there is a subset of highly engaged and active users who prioritize more effective and efficient ways to find connections. So they did test some feedback with his audience to create this new offering. Invite-only, paid-for dating apps. A private membership-based community. Now, one of the things they try to say is it's also the same idea as a league. Ambitious, career-oriented single. So if you're trying to go after very exclusive people that you would never have access to, you pay the price to get in. A special club online. It's a different story if you're paying a $500 monthly membership fee to go and get into a club and meet all these people. That might be a different story. To have access. All right. I could buy on that. But this is online. There's no guarantee of personal interaction, contact, anything. I could very well see some guys getting on here spending $500. Okay, for some guys, that's the money they would spend on a couple of dates. And of course, ladies, don't get on me. Okay, oh, is that all he's going to spend? Hold on. I'm just making a point. And so you have this new feature coming in. Now, this is only for a couple of people that are going to get this. But see, my outrage is the fact that we're going to have this now going on. This is, the league is already $1,000 a week for them. That's the highest end. I don't know if a lot of people meet anybody on the league or how you get to the league. But the other thing, too, is that Tinder and the league are creating ladies' night unlike any other way and before, okay? This is basically ladies' night. But the ladies are not willing to go ahead and budge. They're not going to go ahead and do anything with these guys at all. Even though they're going to get an individual chance to talk to them, it's not going to happen. All right? All these girls can snub all these rich or privileged guys that are coming on as Tinder selects. They could give a shit. And if they do come to you guys, they're gold diggers most likely. You can't tell me there's going to be, that you think that maybe there's going to be that one or two in the few that might be really honest and sincere about you because you're just rich and wealthy and they're not going to take advantage of your money. You got to be out of your fucking mind if you think that's the case. It's not. Now, the league, unlike Tinder, uses actual human matchmakers, helping subscribers justify the cost. Matchmaking services, great expectations, right? That old-fashioned matchmaking service. I've seen that. Now, I've been in one of those meetings where I got pitched, and they showed me the girls that they had. Okay, they're a bunch of girls from overseas, and they brought them in, and they're probably from some agency that got them trafficked. And it's like, oh yeah, they're looking for, they're looking for dates, and they'll fly them in, and they'll get just set up with a date, and it'll be $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 to set up the first date, and they'll get you together. But they're not people that you see around you. No. They might have some good qualities, but they're all from other countries. They might have a language issue or something like that. They might not tell you about. Probably better off being a passport bro and spending the money, $500 a month, going to a different country and meeting girls and living a lifestyle there where you can spend that kind of money on rent in Colombia, for instance. And you can go ahead and meet as many girls that are, 48%? I just read a story about 40% of the girls that are there are under 25 years old. A lot of young girls there. And here's the thing, too. Tinder Select subscribers can direct message people they haven't matched up with up to twice a week. So you can also bother them twice a week, and then you could annoy the fuck out of them while you're doing it. Match Group executives, the company that owns Tinder, Hinge, Match, all these major dating sites, they have high hopes for Tinder Select. And the Tinder Select offering would cost a user $6,000 a year. That's the money that the company wants. Yeah, no shit. If they don't have to deal with all these other people going to the freebie route and not spending $30-$40 a month like they expect them to do, yeah, let's go for a couple of suckers that'll pay $6,000 a month to take care of our infrastructure, take care of our salaries, and everything else. Remember, there's a couple of hundred guys that'll be just enough to go ahead and sucker themselves into that. And look at us, we're going to be millionaires on doing nothing, setting up this little matchmaker service, taking care of the 1% of Tinder users. So they think there's enough out there to do this, to make it happen. The comments on this Verge article I'm taking it from, they give some really good points. One person says that Tinder and other dating apps, the entire business model is ultimately based on the idea it completely fails at its core purpose. If you manage to create a sustainable, long-term relationship with someone you found through the app, you no longer have any reason to use it. Now, another person says that early days of Tinder, every time you played a stupid game by treating the girl as an object to conquer, he would be wildly successful. Just being his normal self instead of a strategically cunning the game hunter, I wasn't lucky at all. Sample size of 1, but I quickly found that women who use Tinder are shallow, so this badge will work wonders. No, it won't. No. This badge thing's been done before on various different ways. Another person says, it's interesting how to watch the culture of online dating has changed and worsened. I met my husband through Tinder in 2016. And at the time, I didn't feel like there was such a relentless hierarchy and focus on casual hookups. It feels like a bit like I got the last flight out of Dodge. Right. 2016. Interesting. And not that far off. Right. When social media really took shape. I mean, it always took time, but the kind of interaction you get now with social media compared to what you get with Instagram or with TikTok or with Facebook is just different. Another person kind of relays my sentiments. I am glad I got lucky meeting my wife when I did. Modern dating is irreversibly ruined if this is what's passing these days. For $500, you could just get something guaranteed with no BS, and just like Tinder, there's no promise of a relationship. Another person writes, just use Hinge. I got 10 plus matches on Hinge, 5 real conversations, while Tinder, after $80 spent, returns 0. After spending $300 plus on dating apps for 3 months, I'm now with someone I met the old fashioned way. This was all 2023, by the way. Tinder used to be better. Another person writes, makes a point that real relationships are not career oriented. Those are at best friends with benefits. Relationships tend to hinge around this really important element of actually spending significant time with the other person and placing them before yourself. But perhaps the match group has been in the game long enough to ruin that for a lot of people too. People do seem to be a tad more narcissistic these days, so that would track that other people are used as self-gratification objects. Yeah, the whole meaning of dating is gone. This is nail in the coffin. Dating apps that have to go this route, yeah, they're betting the farm that they're going to get some people to go and buy on this. When it doesn't work, and it won't, they're going to die off. And then what's the next thing you're going to do? Now, you remember on this program not that long ago, I talked about AI coming in to create dream girlfriends, dream scenarios, right? Which could be the next thing that comes up. Once these dating apps die and they fail miserably, the AI dating thing is going to be the next thing coming up. And for those who are not going to be worried about the fact they don't get to meet the person, that girl in person, and that person's going to be good enough with the algorithm to personalize their relationship with you, then some of these guys are going to live with that, and they're going to be satisfied with that. And that's going to be the downfall of dating in this country anyway. Another person writes, it's exploiting desperate, lonely dudes, but I hate to say this. If it works, it would be worth it. I was spending 20 hours a week on dating apps and dating-related activities. For months, $500 a month is minimum wage. Tinder's such a joke. No one takes it seriously anymore. It's mostly ego-stroking and scams these days. Tinder is the example of the placebo dating app. If it works, they lose you. If it doesn't, they lose you. So they try anything to get money from you in return. So use their apps, Hinge, Yoga, Meetup, or go to the club with a buddy and don't get drunk. Whatever you do, don't waste your time on Tinder anymore. Ask me how I know. Right. Nobody's saying really good stuff about Tinder at all. And they're not wrong about that. Match.com is also looking at a $500 a month version. Bumble has a weekly offering. They're going to offer a premium tier later this year and a cheaper option. It's specifically aimed at Gen Z. Grindr will have a new weekly option. And they're looking at cheaper options at a premium tier. And Bumble's CEO says that the relative value of $40-$50 a month for their special someone feels exceptionally low. The premium offers are targeted at people who want a more curated matchmaking style experience. Like, this is the same thing over and over again. We're playing a broken record by doing this. I hope my audience understands what I'm saying here, because it is honestly this bad. In the dating world, there are a few things that are being brought up that are actually very interesting. Some new trends. We'll talk about that real quick. Evie Magazine writes about who has it harder in the dating world, men or women. And they have results. A Pew Research study polled U.S. adults found out that nearly half of them say dating has gotten harder in the last 10 years. In that same study, women are more and more likely than men to say dating has gotten harder. In college, college students, college-age girls, as recently as 2021, women make up nearly 60% of college students in the U.S. And women now are much more selective on dating apps. Men swipe right 3 times more often than women, setting them up for a good amount of frustration. Here's the other part. Many men are so frustrated by the current state of dating and relationships that they are removing themselves from the dating pool altogether. We know this. A lot of quitting of dating. 6 in 10 men under 30 years old are single. 57% of all singles reported they are not currently looking for a relationship or casual dates. 57%. And I can look outside all I want, and I see a lot of single people. Maybe they got friends around or whatever, but yeah. Marriage rates has declined by 60%. Married men on average have better mental and physical health. Same for women. But more people are getting lonely. And part of the thing, too, is that at the least, you need to get rid of the dating apps and drop them now for good. This is where I'm calling out to the Prey of the Debaucherous audience. And please, for those young ladies out there in the audience, realize this desperation by dating apps is only going to troll and disappoint the guys out there that you're going to try to be meeting. So let the dating apps go. Drop them. They're no good for anyone anymore. Don't even bother anymore. These dating apps like Tinder, Hinge, Bumble, Match, no, OkCupid, all of them. Drop them all. By going to this premium route, they are basically setting their own death. They're basically signing their death certificate. It's done. Stick a fork in them. No more. This is the end of it. If you think you're going to get any better attention by paying the money, or women, if you think you're going to get any better choices by the people you're going to get on here. Now, if you're going in just to go ahead and get some free gifts, free whatever, you want to look for a sugar daddy on Tinder and go with these guys, yeah, go for it. But they won't be there for long because they're going to be disappointed as well. What can Tinder possibly do to think of these new features for $500 a month is going to do any better? It's not. They've been at it for 20 years plus. Now they're at the point where they're running out of options. It's time to recreate something new in the online dating space if it's even going to work. But it's not. And I said before, this wasn't anything that ever worked to me at all. When you especially can have the kind of wall that you have in front and you can't get into getting to meet someone and actually setting up a date. Because even with the $500 a month tier, you're not guaranteed a date. You're not guaranteed to meet this person. You're not guaranteed to go on a date. You're not guaranteed sex. You're not guaranteed anything. You're not even guaranteed a response. And do you think it's going to feel good when you get a bot or some AI or some catfish come in and they're going to be the one to respond to you? Is that going to feel good? Another story coming out from Business Insider. A new relationship coming out from Gen Z, a situationship. We've talked about this, of course, plenty of times on the program. I can go back and look for it. If I go ahead and just looking back for previous episodes where I've talked about it, I could tell you that I've done it. And, it's whatever. A 2022 Tinder study says young singles were embracing it as a valid relationship status. It is friends with benefits. If you see these stories, that's what it is. Don't take it any other way. But this phrase is increasing between January 2022 and October 2022. The platform, Tinder, got the situationship status increased by 49%. Now, in the study of situationship, the proper definition, according to Professor Department of Sociology at University of Michigan, the chair of the department, Elizabeth Armstrong, she says, situationship is an ongoing sexual or romantic liaison that lasts 6 months or more that one or both parties don't see as going anywhere. Friends with benefits. That's it. You're not saying anything special. Over and over, we're just hitting ourselves over the head by saying this. A sex and dating coach talked to Insider, Maisha Battle. She says that, quote, it's like you're dating around until you find something more. But I think with situationships, there's no ending game in sight, really. It wasn't like being friends with benefits either. With friends with benefits, there's a kind of implicit understanding there will be no hard feelings if it doesn't work out. But with situationships, I think people are just seeing where things go, and maybe one person will have a vision of some kind of future, whereas the other might not. No. That's friends with benefits the same way, too. There's no difference, Maisha. I'm sorry. No difference. A nursing student from Texas, Raleigh Jackson, writes, there are many downsides to a situationship. Feelings are always involved. They may get played with almost every single day. You also begin to question your own worth as time goes on. Right. And many times it's going to be women who are going to feel the feelings of this, where it's going to go, and it's not going to feel good after that. And the uncertainty of being in a situationship can induce feelings of anxiety and confusion internally. Right. Because both people in this kind of situation, friends with benefits, A lot of times, it doesn't really go like that. When you say friends with benefits, you absolutely are cutting out the middle person thinking that there's going to be something more emotionally. No, this is just fuck buddies. That's what we call it. That's what it is. Don't put it as anything else. Another story I want to bring up this week from a couple weeks ago is from Forbes. Psychologists explaining the wealth-love paradox. A study published in Social Indicators Research said that financial status explains roughly 10% of the variance in individual satisfaction with life. Beyond mere income, the importance of a holistic view of one's economic position. Money can indeed enhance feelings of security and fulfill certain psychological needs, but it doesn't necessarily guarantee emotional connection or romantic capability. Many affluent people say that it's hard for them to find love and companionship because, one, they can be balancing business with romantic relationships. Often leaves me wondering if there's true love out of reach. Sometimes I feel like my lifestyle isolates me, making it harder to find someone who appreciates my genuine qualities. With frequent travels and events, I'm left pondering if people are drawn to me or the world around me. There was a study in Frontiers of Psychology that says that maybe there's something to this. There's a solution. Greater wealth can influence relationship satisfaction based on a partner's appearance, especially for straight men. And wealthier individuals, regardless of gender, often feel more entitled to pursue attractive prospects outside of the relationship. Kind of the alpha male model, okay? Another study says that affluence was linked to a somewhat relaxed attitude toward unethical behavior in people. That there's a lax attitude towards rules, a skewed ethical compass, inconsideration, and overemphasis on winning. So there are many attributes, they say here, to drive people to amass wealth: determination, self-confidence, and risk-taking, but can inadvertently contribute to interpersonal challenges. Not that affluence makes one unethical, but the road to immense success might sometimes involve decisions that prioritize self-interest. And the recommendations they make here are: diversify your social portfolio, seek value, not just growth, assess risks in relationships, and continual learning. That's what they're trying to say here. Mark Travers, PhD, American psychologist, who wrote this story. Okay, for those of you that stuck around to the end of the program, thank you for doing that. We're going to talk about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. I'm going to just play one clip real quick from a matchmaker that says that Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are a highly compatible match and could be endgame material. They could be married at some point. Here's what she says.
Oh, I'm one of the top matchmakers in the Midwest, and I am also a Kansas City Chiefs season ticket holder, so I've always been a Travis Kelce fan, and also a Taylor fan, of course. So when I first heard the news that they may be dating, I didn't really believe it. But then, after there seems to be a lot of evidence now showing that they are really an item, I freaking love it, and here's why. Taylor does what a lot of people do. She has a type, and she just keeps dating that type, and she just keeps getting the same results, which is failed relationships. I mean, we hear about it in all of her songs, right? So her type has kind of been like artists, musicians, actors, kind of pretty boys, skinny, kind of whitey. And she has moved over in a totally different direction to a man, a hot, muscly, athletic man. And this is why I think this is going to work. Clearly what she's been doing has not been working. And as far as I know, she's never dated a professional athlete, at least one like Travis Kelce. And so this is why this is going to work. He is not what she's been dated before. And he is a real masculine man who will let her have that feminine energy. She'll be the princess. He will treat her like a queen. And she's not going to be dating basically somebody just like her.
You know what? I like what she said about that, because one thing I could take away from what she said is the part that we always talk about. When a guy like Travis Kelce, okay, he, big brawling football guy, okay, masculine, looks like he could be a gentleman, looking like he could be like the kind of guy that understands, giving a woman security, compassion, love, understanding, being able to go and do the right things by it. Now, of course, we've been hearing the whole part about he had a previous girlfriend that was a model that he left, and now the next person he decides to date is Taylor Swift. So Taylor Swift decided to get out of her chronic cycle of picking the same kind of guys that are always like either artistic, but not very masculine, not very like, men, right? Muscle bound, athletic, go-getter attitude. This is a different archetype for her. This is like hunter-gatherer kind of guy. This is a guy like kind of caveman-like. But, he's amicable. He's charismatic. He looks like he's a cool guy. Looks like he's relaxed. He looks like he's a great guy. And there's a lot of women that we'll see first of all, very attractive. They're both very attractive. Good for them. And they will complement each other. So I think if it does work, if this is happily supposed to be nothing more than a publicity stunt, I think what happens with this is that Taylor Swift showing she's picking a guy that's like an all-American, all-rounded, guy's guy. Okay? He can, he hangs out with the guys, playing football, grabbing a brewski, chilling, whatever. And he could be, a kind, sympathetic, loving, nurturing, he can be just that type of guy that will understand and love a woman, as it should be. I mean, he's been in relationships before, and sometimes it's just a matter of who's the compatibility with. Now, that whole thing with the public eye is also going to be tough, but they're both in the public eye anyway in separate ways. So, another way to go in, we're on the PR on this and spin it. But I do agree with the matchmaker on this. She's not that far off. The Midwest matchmaker on Instagram. That's where I saw this. And also, she is, at Midwest.matchmaking on TikTok. So, you can look for that over there. In the meantime, we might not be able to get the kind of relationships that, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are going to be able to get, right? Okay. We're not meant to go and have those kind of relationships. Maybe that fairy tale ending is not going to be happening to us. I got it. Maybe we're not supposed to get that kind of thing. Okay. Maybe we're just supposed to get these kind of relationships we already get now where, maybe it's a situationship. Maybe it's just friends with benefits. Maybe just fuck buddies. Maybe we don't get the kind of stuff that Taylor and Travis are going to get. Maybe we just get something that's a little more depraved and debaucherous.